G'day everyone. Proud to say Bar Karate is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, and we've nailed it this week. But of course, I have to share the microphone with two random chess players. First off, let's welcome to the mic Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
C9 to B4.
Well played.
Illegal move.
I'll bring in the other guy.
Absolute bucket load going on. What a cool weekend it is. It's Sunday here, recording, obviously. Fastnet started yesterday. Can't wait to talk about that. There is shitloads going on there.
So much going on. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
Oh yeah, I'd much rather be hanging out with you two blokes
which is
than
rare.
hanging out
Off the rail
in the English Channel right now. That would be heinous.
Wow, they're all struggling to get around the bottom. That's the worst part. Wind against tide. It's 40 bags.
Mate,
Stand up
how would you
waves.
be loving it?
Oh.
Mate, that would be enough for me to quit sailing. Nah, too much.
Too much.
I'd call it myself.
Yeah, well,
not
a lot
doing
of
it.
boats have. We'll talk about it. A lot of boats have made the seamanship decision and have gone in, but there are still people out there.
I saw a Brad Butterworth interview saying, you know, how much he loves sailing. We don't really love this race, but we're doing it anyway.
Remember last year Sunrise sort of stuck in, what's that little bay? They hid in that bay. What's it? Oh, you know, where they just sort of sat out the weather for a bit. I think they may have
Bay of Shoals. Oh, no, that's not it. But,
Before they come out from the bottom of Portland.
Yeah.
That's where they all are.
Yeah. Anyway, it's going to be ugly for a while, but we'll get back to the Fastnet. Let's continue on. Anything else you want to mention, or should I bring in our guest?
let's bring her in. Geez, I've given it away.
Giving it away. All right, let's bring her in. So our guest today is female. Bossy's given that away. Royal Leamington Yacht Club, born into a famous sailing family, had been to the University of Southampton, done the ship science and engineering program, came through the pathway, the Opties, the 29ers, now into the Moss, the Wasps, and into the complete foiling package with the ETF 26s and part of SailGP's GBR team. So she actually is pretty much, I guess, technically a world champion almost in the Wasps, because she won the Inspire League for the SailGP program. So, you know, the way it works in SailGP, you win each of the races, and all the winners go through to San Francisco for the final, where she won that. So it is of great pleasure.
I'm happy to call it world champion.
World champion, that's it.
World champion.
Oh, she's a world champion.
She's a world champion.
She won $1 million for it. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Bar Karate, Hattie Rogers.
Woohoo.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
At last, we tried once before, but here we are. We finally did it. So welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me. It's fantastic. I've watched your podcast for the last few years, and it's just great to be on.
Cool.
Who's your favourite host, Hattie?
No, I can't say that, can I?
Jesus, nice and early.
Well, we
nice
did say
and early,
we
Bicey. Straight
could
into
take
it.
anything out
Yeah,
if you wanted.
pretty punchy, hey?
No, none of that. Come on.
Hey,
Come on.
Hattie, you're in the middle of summer in the UK. Has summer been gone, or you're still waiting for it?
I don't know. In May, it kind of turned. It was pretty good down in Weymouth. We were 5 weeks there before the Moth Worlds.
Oh, yes.
So, unfortunately, I mean, the conditions were so good before the Moth Worlds. I mean, we had like 40 boats out most days, just doing windward Lewis, and it was just sick. It was so much fun.
And then it shit
but then-
itself.
yeah, classic. Hey.
Do you look back on that Moth Worlds and think all that wasted effort?
Oh no, I mean, it was such good sailing. I mean, the event's more than just the event, isn't it?
Yeah,
with the lead up and everything. And but yeah, it was a bit of a shame to only do 2 races for 7 days. And I just hope people don't think Weymouth's like that all the time, because
I don't
it's
think
usually
they do.
like perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's get into you a bit. Let's. So for those who don't know, Hattie, you know, I think that the honest thing is, we often ask, you know, our guests, how do you get into it? You know, with your family into it, whatever. For you, you had no choice. You're a multi-generation sailing family. So you basically were popped out and thrown into a sailboat from day one. I think my favourite story is drifting down on the scow with Dad to go and get ice creams. You know, I think that's you never had a choice, did you? You're always going to be a sailor.
Oh, yeah. I was definitely thrown into sailing from a young age. I can't really remember my first proper sailing memory, I don't think, because it was just from when I was literally a baby on the Solent. I was sailing Contessa's with the fam, and as you say, getting ice cream. I remember with the scow, it was always launch, turn left into Lymington or turn right to the Solent, and turn left was always to get ice cream. So Dad and I
it worked out pretty quick that turn left was the good one, right?
yeah, definitely.
I thought
no, it was good fun.
Is that how your father taught you port and starboard?
Oh.
Actually, you're opening it up for us here, BP.
You idiot.
Well, you could actually teach BP a few moves on that, Hattie, if you want.
Oh, get out of it.
Did your folks never give you ice cream, BP?
Never. That's an in-house joke. For some reason, it's stuck to me like an egg on face, but I let it roll.
One port starboard.
Yeah, that's all it takes, mate. It's just one
goat.
Yeah, but the other thing is, you know, like, as you said, you know, on the Contessa, I think, is that the boat your granddad built? Is that the one?
Yeah. So he built all the Contessas. That's kind of the family business. Unfortunately, he passed last year, which is really sad. Big loss for the family. But yeah, so I grew up sailing Contessa 26s and 32s. Did a few round the island races on them as well when I was younger, which was epic. But yeah, it's just such a cool boat to grow up sailing on, because it's just it's nice to be sailing a family boat.
So what was your youngest memory for around the island, let's say, or any other significant race?
Oh God, I remember my first round the island race. It was so windy, and we came back around the back of the island. It was between the Needles and St. Cat's, and I was sat on the nav desk, watching the water come up above the windows because the boat was rolling so much, and I just remember being absolutely petrified. But Dad, I remember looking up actually in the cockpit, and Dad had the tiller between his legs. It was pretty loose, but it was good fun.
Yeah, I love it.
I bet your mum would have been super impressed after that. Yeah, I was just taking Hattie for a little yacht around the island.
Actually, I was just going to say, Hattie, like we talked, you know, when we sort of, in my research, found out about your granddad, found out about your dad, but what about your mum? Is she a sailor as well, or is she just been dragged in because of the family?
She's actually not at all. She's definitely been a bit like she's grown up with it. She met Dad at quite a young age, and she doesn't really do much sailing herself. She likes going sailing, but not like racing or anything. She's kind of left me and Dad to it, like my brother. Really, my brother's more into ribs, so it's definitely me and Dad, our kind of thing. But Mum loves it. She really loves to support, and any opportunity to get on a tracker to watch, she loves it.
Oh, good. Are the folks proud of what you've achieved?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah. I think they are. Hopefully a lot more to come. But yeah, they're just so supportive. I'm so lucky with the family that I have, and they just all love sailing and love the sport. So I'm just really lucky that they're all there for me.
Along the lines of what Jordan said, that you were kind of not thrust into it, but born into it, didn't really have a choice. Was there ever a stage where you thought, no, I don't actually like this, or you were actually fully into it from day one?
Oh, yeah, fully into it from day one. There was not a moment that I don't think that I didn't want to sail.
It sounds like if you went to your dad and said, Dad, could I go horse riding? He went, what? Is someone speaking?
Well, actually, it was quite funny horse riding because Mum actually grew up horse riding. So, so I was kind of half given that option. As in, obviously, it was really expensive. We couldn't afford to do the whole horse riding thing. But yeah, Dad let me kind of do the lessons and things. But as soon as I stepped in a boat or a dinghy, that's what I wanted to do for sure.
And what was that? And what was that dinghy?
Oh, it was, I mean, it was just a scow and an oppie. There's a little lake called the Sultans that everyone kind of grows up sailing at. And it's about waist deep. And I just remember Dad and waders like pushing us around in like no wind. And just
running up and down the beach with an ice cream.
yeah, definitely. With the ice cream. But I don't know. I just like from the Sultan. I think a really big part growing up in Leamington as well was my mates. There was a big group of us coming through in oppies through the Sultans and then sailing on the river and then the Solent. We're quite lucky in Leamington because there's a bit of a like you're not just thrown into sailing on the Solent. It's a bit more progressive. So you go from Sultans River and then the Solent. So that's really nice. But yeah, there's just a big group of us, maybe like 15 sailors that came through, mainly girls actually, which was really cool. And we went all through junior and youth sailing together, which was just epic.
A lot of them still sailing?
A lot of them are. My cousin's doing a 470 campaign at the moment.
Nice.
Which is cool. And then a few of them have kind of gone to uni, done team racing, and they're still sailing. But I mean, as long as you just keep enjoying your sailing, that's all that matters, isn't it?
Nice words.
It's very much part of the discussion that we throw out there a lot. Before we get in depth of the sailing, we have to bring one of the other elements into it, which is, and it's a standout of people that we've had on the show. We've had a lot of graduates from the University of Southampton, and you've done I think what's your degree? The Ship Science and Engineering degree, which is where all the cool kids hang out at Southampton, from what I can work out. Did you get a choice with that one as well? Because from what I can work out, and just to give you some perspective on this, I do a lot of research before the show just to try and come up with all sorts of tricks and knowledge stuff. Now, as far as I can work out, your dad, Simon, is the technical director at Windship Technologies. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And so you really didn't get a choice. You had to do engineering.
Let's go back a few steps.
Okay.
And see, I actually don't do any research. I just state everything from memory. Obviously, quite a well-known designer as well, your father.
Yeah.
And designed many a boat along the way.
Yeah, he has. I can't remember the exact number. He said to me the other day how many he's done, but lots and lots of boats. And now getting involved with the family business as well, which is cool. But he's a super yacht designer, and now he's switched more away from that, and he's doing Windship, which is basically the first net zero emission solution for shipping, which is epic.
And
just a question for the boys here: how many videos you watched on Windship today? Because I went down the rabbit hole. I started watching one, and then next thing I know, all these other videos are popping up, and I'm in the wind tunnel and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Super cool.
Well, so cool. For you though, Hattie, as part of your degree, you did some of your work at Windship, obviously. So there was a lot of research in the wind tunnel, and for those who don't understand Windship, obviously they're trying to. It's almost going back to the Clipper days, where the using sailing technology to move large ships around the planet with all our gear on it. Now, but a lot of that data research and wind tunnel testing you got to help out on. I wonder, did you learn anything whilst you're in there that have changed what your knowledge of sailing?
It's exactly how a sail works. It's effectively, their system is effectively sticking an aeroplane wing on edge and using that to generate lift. So it's exactly how a sail works.
Of course.
So it's completely transferable to my understanding of sailing. And actually in 3rd and 4th year of my degree, I specialized in yacht and high performance craft. So that all tied in really nicely when I was doing that wind tunnel testing with Dad. So it's cool. I picked that degree and I wasn't like forced into that degree at all. It was just, I thought it'd be a really good opportunity to just try and improve my sailing from a more technical point of view, to kind of make me a bit more rounded. And there's a lot of, as you say, there's a lot of sailors, and especially like moth sailors and things that have studied at Southampton and done the ship science course, which is really cool. And it definitely does give you a different perspective on the sport for sure.
You know what else Hattie learnt?
What's that?
Is if you make out you're doing a degree, you get to use the wind tunnel for free and get to test out all Dad's cool stuff.
Exactly. Otherwise,
I reckon she was sneaking in there with her wasp sails, but getting in there and doing some wasp sail testing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but I mean, from that perspective, though, you know, like in my mind, you could be out sailing, right? And you can go, I'm not quite sure if this is working or that's working. Let me just go back into the wind tunnel and pretend it's for the development of the wind ship, you know, and just throw this sort of slight rig change in and see what happens. So you can actually quantify it in a wind tunnel, you know. Like I think that would be what, I mean, I'm not saying I'd do that, but, you know, others would.
Others would.
Well, and not to mention that also, but it must have been so cool. Well, obviously, especially with your father and your grandfather, and like, there's quite a bit of technical element there. But then to go to uni and ship science and see the tank test and the wind tunnels and all those sorts of things, just to really, and then now where you are, being able to reference that and apply it, and just see it all come together, it must be pretty satisfying from that point of view.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it was interesting because the degree's a lot more like theoretical, and then the sailing's much more practical. Okay. So it's nice to have a balance between the two. But especially with I hope the direction that I'm going in, I really want to do the America's Cup. So so obviously that's extremely technical, and you almost got to be an engineer as well as a sailor. So so I think it will help with that, I hope.
Big dreams. Hey, did it change the dynamics at the kitchen table, at dinner table, when you're sitting there with your dad and your mum and your brother, and your dad both have got the technical minds, and your mum and your brother probably got lost in it all? Did that change at all?
Oh, I don't know. The kitchen table is a pretty interesting one in our household. It's slightly dangerous. There's some pretty rogue ideas that come from it, including channel crossings and, oh God, it's interesting. But my brother's pretty practical as well and has a good, like, sciencey head on him. So, yeah, mum sometimes feels a little bit left out. Yeah, she's good.
Bless her.
It's actually one thing, you know, we talk about what makes a successful sailor. Like that's something we talk about on and on and on. And one thing I've never mentioned, but I have thought about for a long time, is that a good kitchen table or dinner table where the conversation goes to extremes and you've got a lot of interesting sort of debate, is another element of a successful sailor. I reckon you need that element to sit at the table and have multiple people. If I sat here and talked about sailing with my wife, it'd be bit of
a one-sided conversation.
You'd get some good photos.
Yeah, that's right. She'll be talking about photography and I'm talking sailing. It's not very good. But yeah, no, I think that's
a very valid point. And you see that also in a lot of build teams around the world, especially if building Grand Prix or high performance boats. Like if you have a bunch of boat builders or engineers or designers all sitting around at a certain time, and it so happens to be the kitchen table in this case, a lot of good ideas are born from that. So good point, Jordan.
Very good point.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
so you've done your science
over beer.
So you've done your science, you've grown up. You find yourself heading down the foiling path. Obviously, you did 29 in between that, but the foiling path seems to be where you're directing most of your energies. That's how I came across you with your posts and stuff. And so tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just before lockdown that I bought my Wasp. I did a test sale. When was it? It must have been 2019 in a Wasp with the UK dealer. And I was pretty hooked from then, but I was kind of balancing uni studies and like actually being able to sail and afford a Wasp. But I bought one at the start of 2020, literally just before lockdown. I remember I think I just come in from a training session, and it was just a bit of a nightmare with the whole lockdown thing, because my boat was sat in the garage like all that time.
Oh, no.
I mean, like everyone else.
Yeah.
So I literally just stepped in my Wasp, done a couple of training sessions, and then obviously couldn't go sailing, which sucked. But yeah, I mean, the foiling is super cool. The Wasp is a really good pathway boat, and really good to get into it. And actually, I've decided to carry it on with my Moth stuff at the moment, because I think that the racing's still really good, and it's one design which is a bit different to the Moth. So I think that's working quite well together at the moment. So, but it's just a really cool class, and it's really great that all the youth sailors, like all of my friends from Oppies, kind of split up into different youth classes. So junior, laser, like 29er, 420, and now everyone's like back together in the Wasp. It's just really cool. So,
Cool.
So
Nice
I mean, like this week it's crazy. Like we're in a British house right now, just before the Europeans in Quiberon in France, and it's just like with people that I've known since I was about 9. At our first, like we all met at our first Oppie Nationals and Largs in 2009, which is crazy. But it's just really cool.
And when does that start? The Wasp Europeans?
Tomorrow it all kicks off. We got the opening ceremony tonight, and then it's into 5 days of racing.
Are you the flag bearer?
The flag bearer. I'm
Do
not
they have
sure
the flag bearer for the opening ceremony?
No, I don't think so. No.
Actually,
For the listeners, we better iterate that this is currently being recorded on Monday night, so that's Tuesday, the 17th. Is that right? Tuesday 17th, something like 18th.
The 18th, isn't it?
That the Wasp starts. So we'll probably have this some results pretty soon.
It'll be coming to the conclusion, but I think the one thing they do, they call it the Wasp Games as well. They do it. They make it pretty cool. I think the crew behind the Wasp are really about making the event an experience, and so I think it's going to be. It is a lot of fun, as you obviously be aware, but before we go further into the Wasp, I just want to as BP said, you did the Opti, you were doing the 29er, and obviously the next path is 49er FX. Was the decision to swap to the Wasp rather than go down, say, the 49er FX Olympic path, was that a money decision, or it was a conscious decision you wanted to go foiling, or it was a cool looking boat and you enjoyed sailing it?
I think the 29er was a really great boat for me, and it's a great boat just before the Wasp. Like the angles and apparent wind sailing is quite similar, so I don't think I would have changed my pathway, Oppies, 29ers, and then into Wasps, if I could have gone back. I think that was really good. A lot of my friends went into 420s from Oppies, but I really liked the look of the 29er because it was just really fast and looked really fun. So I decided to do that. And then I was doing my A-levels and I wanted to go to Southampton. So I was kind of prioritizing that. Yep. But then, but just before the Youth Worlds, we were on track to hopefully medal. Who knows what would have happened, because my crew broke her ankle a week before going to China. So unfortunately, we weren't able to go to that. But that basically was the end of my 29er sailing. And then I focused on the A-levels, got into uni, and then thought, what could I do to improve myself as a sailor? So I went estual sailing for a year.
Nice.
And that was really cool. We did the Europeans, nationals, we were given a boat for the year. Cows has got a super cool program supported by David Franks. So I think it was 3 youth teams got boats for the year, and everything basically paid for, which was epic. It's really, really cool. So I did that for a year, did Cows Week and all of the major events, which was epic. And then
how did you enjoy the Etchels?
I want to. The Etchels fleet's just so fun. In the Solent, you get like 20 boats an event, and then the Europeans, I think, was more than that. So the whole atmosphere is just so cool, and I love keelboat sailing as well. It's quite different to anything that I've done, but I've grown up with it in Lymington with all the J80 Thursday evening racing and Contessa's. We did the Contessa Nationals that year, which we won, which was cool. So just going back to kind of
traditional.
I don't know, like
traditional.
Yeah, and like growing up with keelboat sailing, which was really cool. And then at uni, I don't know, I got into uni and I just really missed dinghy sailing. So I thought the foiling stuff, and I don't know, like I looked at doing the 470 and the 49er FX stuff, but I just didn't think that I'd do well in my degree and do well in Olympic sailing at the same time. So I thought the WASP was a really good option.
The degree and trying to find crew and trying to balance it.
Way too responsible.
She's grown up, isn't she?
And I will apologise to the listeners because they were definitely waiting for me to chuck in a Mold 11 joke. Yeah. But I won't. That's a very sensible approach, Hattie. Bloody hell.
Oh, well, I mean, it was very much discussed around the kitchen table.
Right, there you go.
With Dad. Yeah, but no, I don't know. It's just something that kind of unfolded and worked for me pretty well. So I don't know, it was pretty tricky, like not sailing as much whilst I was at uni. But I guess with lockdown and things, it was a bit easy. Well, it was easier for me because I didn't watch people sailing on my stories all the time. So, and I could just get the degree done. But
it's quite impressive just listening to you talk, Hattie. You know, like you seem to be able to focus in on things. You know, like when I looked at your results in your degree, you know, you got first class in your masters. You know, like you haven't slacked off in your study. You've managed to sail at quite a high level. Like for the listeners, we mentioned at the start that, you know, the whole SailGP Inspire program in the WASPs, you know, like, and that's the whole, it's effectively a world championship. All the youth come together in each country, and then the winners all ended up in San Francisco, and you won that, which is, you know, that's
massive,
pretty major achievement.
Gents, we better not forget the interview on Sailing Fast. What's your superpower quote, Hattie Rogers? Time management. This is so important for any athlete.
Did I really say
and
that?
I've always been really organised with my time from juggling sailing and school, then sailing and university work.
Oh, God. I think I must have written that quite a while ago. That sounds so boring.
It does. It does. Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
No,
that's fantastic.
It's good. It's good. Like,
is it?
What we try and talk about here is pathways and people and how people.
God, you've done a lot of research.
What we like to talk about is how people get to where they get to, you see. So part of that is how you as a person have got to what you got to, and that's part of it. It's very good, Bicey. Nice bit of research, mate.
You know, it comes across as somebody that really works towards goals, you know, like it doesn't come across as boring. Yes. I mean, one of the great things about being Australian is that we all like there's a lot of Australians on the world circuit doing all sorts of stuff, and the Aussies always look like they're slacking and mucking around and having a good time. But what you don't see is they're doing all the work underwater, you know, like Aussies are really hard working, and you obviously have that ability to have fun and laugh, but it sounds like you're a pretty determined human being. So, you know, keep it up. It's one thing.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just about balance, isn't it? And I think that, I mean, especially for that Inspire event, I kind of had to deal with my last year of my master's and that event, which was quite a lot. But it's nice now just to be able to focus on sailing. I've been full-time since last summer. So, and especially with the Moth stuff, I've been in Palma training for 4 months at the start of this year. So it was good just to have a goal and crack on with it.
So
absolutely.
How are you earning an income? Who you're working for with the full-time sailing? Where's the program? What program are you in?
So I'm not actually working at the moment. I'm just full-time sailing. So all of my money comes from sponsors. So that obviously takes a lot of time and effort to try and find the money to pay for you to go sailing. So Sir Keith Mills bought my Moth back in November. So obviously that was quite an investment. And that enabled me to obviously go to Palma and train and do the Moth Worlds in Weymouth, which was a really good opportunity, I think, not to miss, which is cool. And then Le Bougie really helped as well. And I've got another couple of key sponsors that basically allow me to do what I'm doing at the moment.
You're allowed to plug them. Don't be shy. We've got no issue if you want to name them. It's
no, it's all good.
Okay.
I want to know, you jumping from the Moth to the Wasp. What? Obviously, there's differences, but I don't not on the water differences. I want to know about off the water. Is it massive staunch off in the boat park? This is what I'm imagining at the Moths compared to the Wasp games, for that matter. And any truth in that, or everyone will still be your mate?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's quite a big difference. Definitely in age, there's quite a big difference because a lot of the younger guys obviously can't afford a Moth, apart from maybe the Kiwi guys that are being supported by Russell. So I think that there's quite a big difference. I mean, I think it's a lot more serious in the Moth class versus like in the boat park versus in the Wasp class. I think it's literally just because of age and people a bit more seasoned and I don't know, professional, I think, in the Moths. So, but it was interesting, like jumping straight into the Moths and a Worlds. Like obviously that, like the Worlds was pretty much my first ever event in the Moth class. So that was quite a big step up, I think, for me in my career compared to wasping.
Geez, and we must say we've seen the Wasp. The Moth just turn into this basically a mini America's Cup campaign is how I want to put it. The amount of research, funding required, sail development, foil development, it just through the roof, right?
Splicing of 1.7 mil Dynex.
I've just bought some of that today.
Yeah, old sausage fingers here be no good at that one. But it must be quite phenomenal to see the tech as well. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's obviously the biggest difference between the Wasp and the Moth, it being a box rule versus one design. The AGM and a few of the meetings we had at the Worlds were pretty interesting and got quite heated, which was interesting to be part of or just sit and watch. Especially with as you say, the metal coming into I mean, you got titanium bulbs on the rudders, but the foils changing, the Kiwis driving, that was pretty interesting. So there's a lot of things kind of I mean, with the Moth there's always things that kind of surface, but yeah, it's just interesting seeing everyone in like one room just debating over a couple of topics. The other big topic at the Moth Worlds was the just being able to measure in 2 of everything versus 1 of everything, and people complaining that it was getting too expensive, and then also with it being so light, it was the minimum wind speed. And there's a line in the rules saying that 50% of the I can't remember exact, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like 50% of the boats have to be foiling for 3 minutes to start a race.
Yep.
So that was obviously tricky because the Mac 2s were kind of foiling way earlier than most other boats.
Yep.
But then we weren't starting because the aerosets and beakers and a few of the other designs weren't foiling, so it was tricky.
And what's your weapon? What are you sailing?
Exocet.
I'm on an Exocet, which I thought was a really good platform to start on. And I think I'll be, I don't know, potentially looking to change to another design, maybe a Beaker or an Aeroset in the near future. But the Exocet's great because the wings are similar to the Wasp as well, so it made it quite an easy transition.
Okay. Is that rule is kind of stupid in the Moss because the minute if you people can just push their boats down and keep them down, and sort of draw it out.
You reckon there could be little V8 chefs in between all the Exocet crews or sailors? Keep it down, team. Yeah. Keep it down. We don't want to see
we don't want to go. We can go light.
Hattie, Jordan's mentioned this before, but sailing in Moth is essentially where these top end, be it SailGP or AC sailors, prove their worth. Is that what you're seeing out there as well? Like essentially that's what helps turn these into mini AC campaigns?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we were out in Palma with the Ineos boys, training with them on their off days or whenever they could squeeze in sessions. And that was super cool to see and be involved with because it's great to have boats to train against, but also see how quick they are and what they do in terms of I don't know, just how they run their program alongside the AC stuff was just really interesting. And they were just so helpful and really supportive of us being out there. So I was out there with Ross Banham as well. So he did the Moth Worlds in a borrowed boat, but is predominantly a Wasp sailor looking to get involved with the Athena stuff as well. So yeah, I think it's definitely, you're seeing most of the America's Cup guys now Moth sailing. So clearly it's worthwhile.
Yeah. Now I say this with a bit of tongue in cheek, but I wonder who rigs all their boats for them.
They bring the short crew.
No, not at all. Well, within the Ineos guys, I think they're given boats, but they're like theirs, and they rig them how they want.
They'll be tweaking them hard for sure. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, it's good.
I like this. I talk about the AGM with the Moth. Hattie, have you ever thought about can you do different voices?
What do you mean?
Well, you could go into the AGM and stand at the back and go into one corner and speak up and say something like, yeah, let's two of everything. And then you sort of
run down, to the toilet, get changed.
Duck down, move out to the other side. Don't listen to those bloody Kiwis. They're cheats, do something. You can just have as much fun as possible and just quietly move from location to location, just to entertain yourself.
Oh, yeah, especially with it being so long. I think the AGM was 4 hours.
Oh. Mate, it sounds like a bloody...
No wonder there was arguments.
IMOCA 60 owners meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder there was arguments. Just boredom.
Yeah.
Well, we have to talk about... you've been mentioning hanging out with the Ineos team and all that, and you obviously got the go. You've been with the Inspire win and stuff, and being a POM, and you got the chance. You're working with the SailGP team, and you've got I think it was at Dubai, your first official regatta. Was that right? With that, we actually were.
Yeah. Dubai was where I went out as part of the team, and then before that, I did Plymouth for season. I think it was season 3 last summer. So I was the reserve female there. So I didn't actually sail. It was just I was there in case anything happened.
Oh, so
Dubai was the.
Was that the one where was when Princess Kate came down?
Yeah, exactly that event. But I didn't. No, I wasn't properly. Well, I sailed a little bit in San Francisco because both Hannahs were ill at the time. So I was on the boat training for 2 days before the Wasp regatta. But then I was, with the team on the F50 a little bit in Dubai last year, which was epic.
And I was just about to say, how did you like the boats? Because obviously, a lot of people on this planet are not going to get the opportunity to sail one.
Well,
but you're one of the lucky ones.
Before you answer that, though, BP, detail, and I'm not sure if this is still valid, but aren't you the highest? Haven't you got the highest speed for a female skipper on one of those things?
Well, I doubt. Oh, I don't know. I doubt that it still stands after SailGP last year. But that was pretty wild. But yeah, I don't know. But it was just super cool to be helming at those kind of speeds. Definitely broke my personal speed record. But yeah, it was crazy. San Francisco. It was a mad week because I kind of rocked up. I mean, I rocked up to WASP training, expecting to have a couple of training days before my regatta, but then I was literally, Tom Hebert-Evans got a call and I was put in the back of an Uber across San Francisco straight into safety training and on the boat in 25 knots of breeze. So it was this
does mad. That and this does this. Pull on this when we say and go for it.
So for the listeners, to actually go and sail on the 50s, you have to do. It's basically a half day of survival training, and it's not like what you do when you do a yacht one. It's like full hold downs and using oxygen tanks and emergency breather systems, and it's pretty full bore, and so you don't just get to go sailing on the 50s, unfortunately. Otherwise, I know where I'd have spent most of my time, but you know, and then in San Fran, when you're talking about, I think. At one stage, Robert Pattinson was floating around like he's a bit of a heartthrob movie star. Did you catch up with him at all, or is it you were just so focused on the sailing stuff?
Oh, I didn't see him. Damn, I didn't know he was
standing next to me. You were
all
just
he heard was all she heard was
did
your
you just
voice,
say he was
Jordan.
standing next? Sorry, Jake. Sorry, Bossy. Go on.
All she heard was your voice, Jordan, and kept walking the opposite direction.
I was just going to say he was standing next to you, Jordan. Well, there was no way she was looking at him when you were there.
Oh, of course.
Old Jim Courier.
Old Jim Courier with the very big head there. She said, "Look at the size of that guy's head."
You're telling me now whether this is you can confirm or deny. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure in the UK, and Kate Middleton. Princess Kate. She's kind of. I saw quite a bit of media saying, you know, that, she's at it again. 1 week she's playing tennis, the next week she's sailing. Were you her stunt double?
A stunt double? No, stunt double. I don't think I could pull that off. She's gorgeous. But no, I didn't actually meet her. I was very much in the background when she came. But
So, Hattie.
Oh, hang on. Jordan's had a thought.
This
could go either way. Stand by. Have we got one of those mute buttons?
Well, we know Ben was hanging out with all the boys were hanging out. And, of course, our good friend Henry Woodhouse was hanging out with Kate. He had to strap her into her safety harness. Have you had the great pleasure of meeting the great Henry Woodhouse on this SailGP team?
I have indeed. Yeah. I met Henry. Henry's great. He's so cool.
He is so cool.
His mullet
blowing in the wind.
Has he still got his mullet? I don't think he's still got his mullet.
He shaved it in Australia. He's a good man, Henry. He's definitely a good man. We're long-time friends of that boy. But yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that you'd made that connection to that man because there's a lot of love there.
He's great, isn't he?
All right, so but with the 50, this program being bought, I guess I was trying to get to this point. You've been sailing on the ETF26, which is part of the program as well, which is that sort of falling cat doing this. You've stated quite clearly earlier on, America's Cup's where you want to go, right? So you're into that program, the POMI program. It sounds like you're in there. You technically could qualify for a female role or a youth role.
Should I refer to a quite direct quote?
Yeah, let's do that.
From Miss Hattie Rogers.
You're in trouble
What's
again,
your
Hattie?
ultimate dream?
Oh God, what's this going to be?
Shorter term to be selected and win the Youth and Women's America's Cup as a helm.
Ooh.
Longer term to win the America's Cup and SailGP circuit as a helm. So they are goals 100. Well, and let's face it, we're just around the corner. Well, talk us through how that's going. One for the Youth and Women's America's Cup. Is that all in progress? It's all falling into place, or there's still quite a ways to go down that path?
I think there's still quite a way to go in terms of selection. We're just kind of getting together or getting an idea of the timeline of how that's all going to work.
Mhm.
So a few of the teams are already on the sim from Team New Zealand. So just trying to get all of that together. But I mean, we're just I don't know. We're just trying to work out like we're in the process of all of that at the moment. So we'll see what happens. But
well, the old saying of squeaky wheel gets the grease. You just got to keep the pressure on, don't you? You just got to keep pushing and keep showing up and keep sweeping that floor.
Well, exactly. That's why I'm just carrying on my moth and wasp stuff. Just trying to keep as sharp as possible, to give myself the best, or put myself in the best position to be selected. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I hope I'm on track at the moment.
Good.
Yeah. Wow.
We hope you are too.
Okay, so obviously, let's not talk specifically about you, because it sounds like you it's all up in the air. You can't make any assumptions. But what's the attraction for the Cup? So, I mean, obviously, I got the photo of the 40 behind me. To me, they're the coolest looking things on the water. Is that what it is for you, or is it the sense of competition?
Oh, I think both. I mean, the boats look epic. They look really cool. I just can't wait to see them all racing with the America's Cup teams in a couple of months. That's just going to be epic seeing them quite a few boats together. So it's going to be really cool watching that and seeing what we could potentially be doing next year. Yeah. But also, I mean, even in the Wasp and Moss fleet, we've been talking about it all summer, just who's going to be on the teams. But it's pretty much, I mean, a lot of the people that will be on the teams will be will have been at the Moth Worlds and here at the Europeans in the Wasp fleet. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting seeing how many teams are made up of like Wasp and Moth sailors versus the Olympic sailors, and the balance between both in the teams, because obviously we've got this new foiling pathway kind of coming together, but no one's actually really done it yet and gone into the youth and women's America's Cup, because it hasn't happened yet. So if we do go, it will be kind of one of a few of the first people to do it. So it's going to be really interesting the next year. I can't wait.
It's interesting, Hattie, because you're sort of in your early 20s. You know, you've pretty much grown up, and foiling's just a natural part of sailing. And, you know, the opportunities for... Sorry,
Jordan, I just laugh because looking on your Instagram, Hattie, you got all these moth photos just smoking around, and I'm like, oh, my God.
I know.
I would be a dead man trying to sell one of those bloody things. Sorry.
I definitely have some bruises from learning to sail them. Even, I mean, there's just not much room for errors there.
No.
Especially with the shrouds, they're a lot more painful to pitch pole than a wasp.
Yeah, it's true. But the opportunities that are available to women is fantastic. You know, like the sport's recognised that we want 50-50 participation. It has been traditionally male-dominated sport. No logical reason for that. And so you're at that time. You're right at the cusp. You're in the front of the wave. You know, you're right at the perfect spot. I mean, do you know that, or do you feel that, or are you just thinking, you know, this is normal? Yeah, just normal.
I think. I mean, Dad's always said to me that with his America's Cup stuff, like, God, he wishes he's like a lot younger now and he could just like be in the position I'm in. So I think that that is a bit of a reality check and make sure that I'm like, I know how lucky I am. But I don't know. I do feel like there's a kind of foiling generation coming through that I'm definitely part of. And I'm just so excited for the next few years, and I'm just trying to like take every opportunity as it comes. And it's just I definitely know how lucky I am for sure.
We could probably
it's going to be interesting.
Relate a bit to like, how we call millennials and Gen X and baby boomers, and we could probably bring it into sailing terms and just have you just, I don't know, the foilers and the non-foilers.
The frothers. The frothers, we'll call them.
Frothers.
Bit of foil froth.
Yeah, exactly.
Foil frothers and the non-foil frothers,
Yeah. Although we do, especially in the Wasp, we get some a pretty big range of frothers, I think. But yeah, we're all like, especially in the Wasp fleet, like everyone's like quite a lot younger. So yeah.
Mini frothers.
Mini frothers.
So if you sort of look back, or you look at the fleet of boats that are out there, what boats are you wanting to sail that you haven't had a chance to sail yet? Is what jumps out at you? You think, oh, that'd be cool.
Well, non-foiling boats, I really want to get into J70 class. I think there's a lot to be learned from that class. And I'd love to get back into keelboat stuff. At the moment, I'm not really doing too much keelboat sailing, but I think that, I don't know, the tactics are just really different, and it's a different style of sailing. And I think it's nice to mix it up and do some different stuff. I haven't sailed on 69F yet. That would be cool. And then obviously the AC40 hopefully next year will be epic. So there's a few boats on the radar for sure, but it's just time, isn't it?
It's time.
and money.
Okay, what about influence sailors that you go, oh yeah, they're cool, like which sailors sort of stand out to you as a young person? I'm interested where the age cutoff is. Is it?
He's thinking.
Would you like me to refer?
Yeah.
I can answer this if you want, Hattie, but I'll leave it to you.
No, I want to hear. What were you going to say?
Well, firstly, there's your dad, of course.
Can you use a female voice, Bossy? Your Hattie voice?
Well, firstly, it is your dad, of course. Always been a role model and will continue to be.
Very good.
Hannah, of course. Hannah Mills. Mm-hmm. She's played a big role model in your life.
So we're not mentioning Hannah Diamond. We're just going to stick to Hannah Mills. She blew off Hannah Diamond, obviously. By the way, Hannah, congratulations.
No,
she got married
Hannah.
yesterday, I think, a couple of days ago.
Yeah, she did. She did a couple of days ago, which is so cool.
Yep. Continue.
So, and then finally, Sir Ben Ainsley, who just lives around the corner. I heard you're going to go steal his golden letterbox and put it out the front of your house.
It's not too far away from my house, but
how to go there?
Yeah. This, I mean, obviously those two are really still my role models for sure. I did write this a while ago, by the way, that interview thing that you're reading. But I think also I'd add, there's a few really, like with the test event that's just happened, it's super cool seeing some of our generation actually doing really well and getting some medals. So I'd probably add, like Daniela, for example, was a really good mate of mine. And obviously she absolutely dominated the kite class. And that's foiling, which is really cool. But it's just interesting seeing, like, because obviously it's now become an Olympic class, seeing how she's responding to the likes of Lorianne and Ellie being up there. I mean, those three girls are just like on another level, it looks like. It's just going to be really interesting to see how they approach winter training and next year. And I think that, I've always really looked up to Daniela, and it's just, it's cool having a mate that you look up to and you know them really well. So.
Oh, she's a cool chick. We enjoy our time talking to her. We've had the joy of chatting to her a bit, and we know she listens to the show, so she'll be hearing you say that.
No, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want me to go through here, guys?
Yeah. No. I'm intrigued though. I like that sort of that pathway because the history of our sport, and the dinner conversations that you would have had or breakfast conversations. I thought your the reason I asked the question, we did a question once with a youth sailor, and his awareness of people before, I think Slingsby probably was Australian, was non-existent. But I suspect with your family history, you know, the history of sailing and the knowledge that you would have would be a lot more extensive, you know, so that understanding, I guess, because those conversations would happen over that table, I reckon.
Yeah, it's cool because we've had the mill as our like family house for so long, and it's mad to think that those conversations have been happening for like, oh god, like 60 years around the same table.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was talking to Granny the other day about just because obviously there was the Untold series that came out about the America's Cup in Australia too, and everything that happened with that. And it was just it was crazy because Grandpa was meant to be, he had visas with a whole team to go out to Australia and to build a glass fiber boat for that America's Cup, but they didn't do it, and they pulled out just before they were meant to fly. So it's really cool, like the stories that just come out, and it's obviously like some really big turning point kind of points in our sport, and it's just it's really cool just to, I don't know, be really open around that table and just hear from like Granny and Grandpa, well, not Grandpa anymore unfortunately, but Dad, and it's pretty epic.
Yeah, wow.
It is very cool. It is cool. I mean, you, as I said at the start, you didn't get a lot of choice. You were dropped into the world of sailing. Can you imagine what you would have done otherwise? You know, is there something that's ever tugged at you and thought, maybe instead of sailing?
Oh, definitely field hockey.
Field hockey?
That would be a thing.
Maybe cycling?
I don't know.
Bit of croquet. Croquet's always
I know you haven't done your reading, BP. Bicey's just quoting on book.
Just this one interview from like 5 years ago. Probably hockey, to be honest. Hockey was so cool. That was my other sport growing up. The riding kind of went out the window a bit, and Dad shut that down quite quickly.
Sailing's heaps cheaper than horses.
Can't afford a boat and a horse. Horse, you're out of here.
Well, and he always said to me that that a boat you can stick a cover on, but a horse you still have to muck out on Christmas Day. So
and they've got a brain.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then I think hockey was a really big sport for me, and I kind of had to give it up a bit at county level when I was 13. But sailing was definitely a lot more fun. It was just interesting to have the team sport. Like obviously, it's a much bigger team than all dinghies basically. So it was nice to have a balance whilst it lasted until the sailing in school got a bit more intense. But
you said over that dinner table that, you know, all sorts of crazy ideas have been discussed and thrown out there. What's the craziest one?
Hang
on, Bice. Is that on the interview anywhere? Have you got that already?
Oh no, I'm done. I've stated. I've quoted everything that's been written.
You're finished. Craziest idea. Oh God. We've had a few. There was the Wasp Channel crossing from France.
That's when I think that's when I touched base with you last.
That was a bit mad. We didn't actually make it. We got halfway and then the wind died, which was really sad. Well, we did make it towing, but we still raised quite a bit of money for charity, which is great. But
nice.
That was a bit of a mad idea.
Well, that's when I touched base with you. You were about to prepare to do that. And I thought that's an interesting story. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually did it a second time, but then didn't make it the second time either. So, but it was good fun. Bit of an adventure as well. Got pretty hairy near the needles, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. There was something I was going to ask. Something all about the Solent. That was another thing I was going to get on, but I guess it's gone for me. But
Yachts Person of the Year.
That's a pretty good one. So with the YJA Yacht Person of the Year, which BP's just thrown out there, so that's the Dinghy and Water Sports Show, which is a major accolade. So you've got Ben Ainsley's won it, Dee Kafari, Sir Robert Knox-Johnson, Alan MacArthur, and now Hattie, you've won it as well, and your granddad won it in the past as well. That's quite an honour.
Yeah, a complete honour, and it was pretty unexpected. Just to be nominated was completely unexpected, let alone to win. So, that was a bit of a surprise in March, especially with the other people that were nominated, with like Dylan and Tom, and it was pretty mad, but a nice one to win.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, it was voted on, and all the peers voted for you. Yeah. So, it's obviously worth the while to put the vote in. So congratulations on that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We are running out of time. You do have the Euro starting tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Just really quickly, how are you feeling? Confident? Are you feeling like you could make a splash? Well, not literally, but get out there and have a good crack at it.
Good words.
Yeah, hopefully not a splash. Yeah, I think I'm in a pretty good place at the moment. I don't think I could have done much more. And it's always nice to come into a competition feeling like that. I think a few summers, it's only really this summer that I've had a proper winter of training in the lead up to the event. So, whatever happens on the water kind of happens. But I feel like I'm in a good place.
Excellent. Well, that's a good start.
I'm just sitting here, boys. I'm sitting there going, we could be super cheeky because this will play out just after the event, right? And we could get Hattie just to go. Okay.
Yeah, we can do a re.
Hattie just say,
okay,
okay,
you reckon?
Congratulations. We could just do a throw. Congratulations.
Oh, it's definitely a podium.
The Wasp Euros. Tell us what won it for you, and you can give us a breakdown. So how come you won?
Oh God, I can't sit. I can't.
Yeah, no, don't. That's
it's definitely time management.
Better time management.
Yeah, thanks, Nick.
I'd like to thank Sir Ben and Hannah for their support over the years, and to my dad.
That interview needs to go.
No, we're only having a crack. It's awesome to have you on, and we wish you all the best for the week and the future for sure.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Should be good fun.
Good luck, Hattie. For everything, and see you around the traps.
Yeah, well, I should see you down in Australia for the Wasp Games in December. So,
yes.
Okay, cool.
Love it.
Which would be epic.
Barkarati live from the Wasp Games. I can see that happening. I genuinely can see that.
That'd be cool.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, Hattie.
All done.
Cheers, guys.
Boys, Kenny listeners would have noticed at the start that we announced a sponsorship. Now, we have been going for nearly 5 years and we've knocked back a lot of different sponsors. Why have we finally accepted sponsorship from Radix Nutrition?
Well, first of all, I thought given we were going to have a sponsor, we should take the week off, have a little celebration.
Oh.
But no. No, this is what we're here for. And at the end of the day, guys, when we did that first show with Mike and we spoke about it, there's a whole lot going on the socials subsequently after that of people trying Radix out. And it just evolved from there. And we could definitely see the advantage that it's going to give the listeners. So that's where we've ended up, gents. I love it.
Do you want to say something, BP?
Well, look, it's the way forward. It's the way forward for a busy lifestyle to get the nutrients that are required to unlock your full potential on the water or even just in general life. How are we feeling about that?
Well, I want to say, obviously, ethics are pretty important for how we put this show together. You know, like it's all about the audience is the way I view it, right? And that's why we've knocked back lots of sponsorship because, one, we didn't want to ruin our relationship with a lot of sailing brands, but two, we wanted the right sponsor. And for me, for us, I think Radix Nutrition is the right sponsor because, one, it's a benefit to our listeners because if they do use it, they're going to be fueling themselves with the best possible nutrition.
Yep.
2, we're not crossing off any sailing brands. We're actually bringing knowledge and health into the sport. So that's a good thing from us. They have actually agreed to really good terms, which allows our listeners to get a benefit. And I think that's valuable. As you said, during that episode, which was 211, if you didn't listen to episode 211, go back and have a listen.
From memory.
Yep, from memory. So Radix do nutrition products. They do these great breakfasts, meals, protein powders, smoothie powders. They're designed to provide your body's metabolism with the nutrients you need to perform at your peak. So that's another thing, like performing at our peak. If you're a cruiser, and it's rough seas, you can still get good nutrition on board. If you're racing, you don't want to go down below and cook, you can do that. If you're in the dinghy park, rather than having hot dogs and sausage rolls, you can just have the Radix. And so you're going to perform better. And that's what our sport's about. It's about performing better. And so the Radix nutrition thing ties in with that. We got on well with these guys. They've backed you in on the Far X2 BP. It's a good all-round match. And listeners, here we go. Because of this relationship, we've negotiated a deal where listeners of the show, Radix Nutrition is offering an exclusive offer of 10% off your first order. So if you go to radixnutrition.com and use the code BARKARATE, one word, BARKARATE, you'll get 10% off your first order. So that's a pretty good deal. So we've actually managed to pass on some savings.
Yep, do it, listeners. Get in there. And just to add to that, Jordan, not only but whilst you're in training as well, give your body the best, this is from a performance point of view, the best possibility of performing at its peak. So take it on, listeners.
Yep. And the other good thing, if we make some money, we'll start doing live shows. So it's
live.
A win-win.
It's a win. Everyone wins.
It's a win.
Everyone wins.
Hey, speaking of winning, our guest, how cool is Hattie Rogers, hey?
Oh,
what a chat.
Has she been?
It was a good chat.
The reverse curse, has it happened?
It has happened.
I believe it has.
It has happened, yeah. Have you got the results? So the Euros, they're over, they're run and done?
The Euros are done with 9 qualifying races, 8 final races, and Hattie, you'll be pleased to know, came in 32nd overall, first female. She's just absolutely nailed it. So she sailed her skin out. I was checking the results when we did the interview. It was just at the start, as we spoke about, prior to the Euros. And as we're recording now, she's all done and dusted. And Hattie's been, hopefully they've got a nice trophy that she'll be drinking out of, I'm sure.
Yep. So congratulations, Hattie. We really enjoyed having that conversation. Congratulations also to Marcus Bertet. Excuse me, Marcus from Norway. I apologise, mate. And Magnus Overbeck, and then Ettore Bottini. Our top 3 men, and then we'll have to go hunting for the top 3 women because they're all mixed in. But Hattie for first. And did you get second? You had second up there, boss. It's Alessandro.
Second, we had
Dabini?
Hedvig Doxrod.
Oh, and then Hedvig Doxrod, and then
Alessandro Dabini. But check it out though. Like no massive dominance. First Norwegian, Danish, Italian, German, UK, France, German, Italian. So big
what a
mix-up.
success! What a success story this fleet is.
I agree with you, BP. You're 100% right, buddy.
This is blown under the radar, and I mean, okay, they're front and square in at the SailGP. They're putting a lot of effort in there. But if you have a look at this is people who are who are generally committing to this class and who are 100%. Getting out there and giving it a crack.
There's more than 150 competitors.
It's amazing.
Yeah, for Euros. It's
gold.
It's gold.
Well, and silver. They had 2 fleets, actually, gold and silver.
You idiot. Cool. Well done, Hattie. And thanks for chatting to us. Good fun. Obviously a superstar of the future, that one. Cool. Other events? Should we go on to other news? In club events, the Youth Falling Gold Cup in the 69F, going to be happening on Lake Garda in Torboli, 21 to 27 August. There's a heads up for the fans of the 69F. That's the Finn Youth Falling Gold Cup. So basically the World Champs is effectively what it is. And they just can't call it World Champs because not
just in Lake Garda again. I mean, why not?
Why not, BP? Why not? It's such a good place to go for a yacht. The other one that's happening right now, boys, right now, in Travemünde.
I like to call it Trevor Mundi. Trevor's
Trevor
World.
Mundy.
Trev's World.
Trev's World.
Oh dear. Sailing Champions League, the final is this week. It's on, as we said, Travemünde. It's going on right now. So 4 days of racing. So there's no race drops. So you can't make a mistake. And then in day 3 and 4, it's going to be live streamed on the Sailing Champions League on YouTube and Facebook. So it's going to be worth watching because it's, that sort of tight, short course racing. Good fun in small boats. Best of luck to all teams competing, but just a silently biased good luck to the CYC SA from the Commodore. Boss.
Here. Good luck, gents.
And then,
as mentioned the other night when they were presented to the members down at the club for the club draw, I got asked if I wanted to say a few words, but I was just going to save it till they come home with the cookies.
Oh, cool. Well, the other team.
So no pressure, boss.
No pressure. The other team is the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club team, who we've also got great friends in that club as well. So a little bit of bias,
absolutely,
on the Aussie end, but yeah, cool. Cool. All right. Anything else that we need to bring up under club events? All good?
No. No, that's it for club events because we'll be speaking about some much bigger events shortly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, we've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to sort of try and fly through it a bit. Listener of the week, we've got a few here I want to throw in. So the Barney clan, so Andy and Carmen, they're mad, passionate supporters of Bar Karate. They actually live in Queensland. We've mentioned young Hayden, their son, before, and they've got another young son by the name of Jordan, named after me.
Well, fair enough. I mean, goes without saying, really.
Yeah, of course he's named after you.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I think Andy and Carmen are just sitting there going, what? What's this happened? Anyway, they wrote in because they just wanted to recognise, I mentioned it previously on the show, here in Australia, the Fin class, now, if you're a member of the class, everyone kicks in. There's about 60 members and they kick in $100. And what happens is they send the top youth from the Australian champs off to the Silver Cup. So there was a big email come in from the Barneys just talking about that generosity and that opportunity and the fact that they're creating that opportunity, being able to go to Lake Garda, sailing with friends, doing all sorts of different stuff. A local sailmaker from Doyle's gave him a sail, the whole thing, it's that's the sort of thing our sport's about. That's what makes our sport good. And that's the reason I wanted to mention that email, people just giving back to everyone, we're in the best sport ever, I reckon.
Yeah. Good community.
I think there's a good amount of people start more and more fleets looking at this sort of option as well. A lot of people get involved and looking at models that are existing models. The good example of that is the guys in the States with the NASA. So it's all good.
It is good.
All good. It is going to take people to put back in, but that's how it is.
And on that point, just for our listeners, we did say early on that any extra money that we make on this show, we're going to split 4 ways. So we split it between the 3 of us, and we're going to put money back into the sport as well. That's always been part of our plan. If we've got a long way to go to make money because we've got quite a build up of costs.
Got a few debts to pay.
But once we do, we'll be sharing it out. So support our sponsors, and then it'll get to you sooner. The other one is I published that video Nolan Crowe sent through us of the 8 metre.
8 metre.
Yeah, getting sunk. Yeah.
Now I've actually sailed quite a lot on Defiance, an 8 metre here in Sydney.
Yeah,
beautiful boats. I mean, they're obviously a classic. And to see that happen, it's obviously in everyone's mind that any boat can have an incident and this happened to them. But the footage and the way they went about it, I was so impressed with the way they did it, and to get down underwater and take a video of it sitting on the bottom.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. It's like, oh God, look at that. It's eerie, but at the same time,
It was
like
very Titanic, wasn't it? I was waiting for the submarine to get crushed. Too early?
Implosion.
Oh, no, definitely. It's almost late. Good on you, Perth.
But look, they retrieved it and brought her up, and fantastic story. I mean, and obviously a lot of work to do that, but everyone jumped on board, just like we just discussed then about helping people out.
Yeah,
big operation.
Yeah, it was good. But so that was we've shared the video on our Facebook page if you want to go and have a look at what we're talking about. But the Severn 2 just coming up
8 metre.
Yeah, a port starboard BP.
Port starboard, yeah, good on it. It actually was a port starboard this time.
Yep. So a collision and one boat sunk, and they've got it up, and we've got some photos up, some footage up. We can share some photos as well from the marina if need be,
and from our good friends in Canada.
Yeah. The other one I want to mention is an interesting one. Peter Jenkins sent in a note. So on the back of the Paul Eldred discussion and the apprenticeship discussion, and again, this comes back to youth and opportunity. Pete has been a long-time listener to the show, and he actually says that a long-time fan and sailing tragic. He works in the Hood Loft in Sydney. Yep. And been doing it for about 18 years. He wanted to talk about apprenticeships. 99% of sailmakers you ever meet who are currently trained in-house. The quality of their training varies loft to loft, and the issue with the bigger lofts is the reliance on manufacturing centres scattered around the globe. However, TAFE certificate that does exist doesn't grant new apprentices any benefits, such as student travel cards, etc., for discounted travel while on an apprentice wage. And certificate only really qualifies you to make T-shirts. Another issue affecting retention, I believe, is the overemphasis on the top end of the tree, such as TP52s, etc., and the bottomless budget programs. When it comes to recruiting potential employees into the rigging or sailmaking ranks, keeping them when 99% of your life as a sailmaker has very little to do with these boats, instead spent learning on fundamental skills, lessons applicable to completely different sailing population.
Huge point.
We manufacture hundreds of years in our loft, and from membranes through to tall ships and blah, 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 blah. But basically, he was saying that we should emphasise on that sort of whole element of our sport. And
industry as a whole.
Yeah, the industry as a whole. But if you come in as a sailmaker, understand that there's a whole range of it. And it's some really good points. He sent a bunch of photos as well. So, good discussion just around apprentices, because, we're always talking about the pathways into the sport. And
Here.
Do you think, guys, we're going to have to change this segment's name to Jack Lloyd Listeners of the Week? Because
so many good.
I can't really choose out of those.
Well, we've got one. You've forgotten one, gents.
What's that one?
What's that?
Freddie Hall sent some stuff through this week.
Yeah.
Of the BAR Technologies foiling electric boat, which went around. It got its they call it the electric round the island race, round the island record, 1 hour 56 from memory. But a sleek looking machine. Let me tell you.
Very sexy.
Yeah, well, very sexy. So's the price tag at around £2 million.
£2 million.
Yeah. Well, that may or may not be true, but it's
allegedly £2 million.
Allegedly. But it looks bloody good, doesn't it?
Does look good.
I'd love to sit in it and just put the foot down, send it,
and just hear the roar of that big V. Oh no, hang on.
The microphones and the exhaust.
The whine of the electric engines.
Electric engine.
Those little copper wires spinning around.
Yeah, the continual sound of torque.
But how cool, like that whole classic look. Imagine like the first time you're walking down the dock there and you see this beautiful classic boat. Next thing you do, you're looking at it and she's out of the water. No noise.
No noise falling. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
What he says is true. It is trickle down. This technology we're playing around with these foils.
Well, we spoke about that Baltic 111, right?
Well, the
a bit of trickle up. This is a bit of trickle.
Down.
We'll just call this trickle.
Yeah.
And the wasp is trickle down. Love it.
I'm not going to do the inappropriate jokes that are in my head right now.
No, you shouldn't.
No, because you did laugh. Trickle.
It's hot time with Bice.
Righto, gents. We've got a couple of big things going on right now. We spoke about it at the in the intro. Number one, the Fastnet.
Indeed.
Fastnet race is underway. It's not run and won as yet. We'll have to be giving results next week, but she's full what they call a Narmoth. In more
One
common
and run.
terms.
They haven't even got around the bottom of England yet. They're really struggling into.
So
I believe.
Get this though, 455 boats entries.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
That's unbelievable. Like 379 are racing under the IRC rule. What else is there? IRC 103 boats in your fleet. That's pretty cool. IMOCAs, 29 IMOCAs. Impressive in itself. 23 Class 40s.
Yeah,
I mean,
what about this
really
for a number?
is the
In my world? What about this for a number? In my world, 100 double handers.
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
100. Now, not the type of race I'd want to be out there double handing in at the moment.
No, she's going to be tough. Definitely.
Well,
tough.
not unless you're eating Radix Nutrition, of course.
Well, of course.
Now, 2 old teams.
Yep.
Racing, but 455 boats on the start line.
It's definitely going to be interesting to look at the IRC overall, which is obviously the trophy that we like to look at. I mean, all of them are important, but 364 boats competing in that division, that's going to chop and change over the coming days, especially once this weather moderates and the survivors can take advantage of getting themselves up to the rock and getting some downwind sailing on the way back.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. Well, of note at the moment, I saw Ran had retired. I haven't yet to kind of catch on to what. There's quite a few, several retirements, but yeah, yet to kind of find out exactly what they are. And some just seeking refuge, which is not a bad call. Very good from seamanship point of view.
There's a great photo. Tom Hicks, who has a photo website called soulintoaction.com, of Scotty Shawyer, our Canadian mate. His boat is like that. You've got the rudder out, you've got the foil out, because he's just got dagger boards, and then the keel is completely out as well.
He's just sending it.
It's just everything is out of the water. He's well over. The thing that I don't know, did you guys watch any of the start?
No.
Negative.
Okay. So the tide, it's almost identical to 2 years ago. Like it's Port Hand, everyone's starting port, trying to get on Port Hand start. But the tide was rushing them out at like 3 or 4 knots, and quite a few boats were over, including Pip. And in the IMOCAs, she was well over. And in the Class 40s, there was like half the fleet was over, right? They were just pushed over and they couldn't get back. They knew they were going over and they just couldn't get back. But in the rule, they don't actually have they don't blow the
allowance to
an
come
individual recall. There's no recall. You just
penalty,
2-hour penalty. So you can get back. You can sail yourself back and start properly if you want, and you know, but. Yeah, so the tide, as you know, does rush through there, and a few of them were just swept straight over that line. But
Yep, absolutely. Just a quick one. I don't know if you just saw that, but Scott Shaw's retired.
Oh,
broken
okay.
Broken J3 halyard, caused damage to the sail. After reviewing the situation, the team decided to retire from the race. Both skippers on board are reported safe and uninjured and no danger.
God,
so
he's sailing with
with a Sweden fella.
Yeah, good mate. Buddy, I got a mental blank.
But anyway, I think there's a lot of stories to come out of this next week. So we'll keep an eye on it, obviously. But what? Is this a TP race? Is this a TP race?
I reckon on IRC, the bigger the boat, the better you're going to go. I think it's going to be Rambler. Oh no, what's it called? Lucky now. The way the weather's going to play out, I reckon there will be a ridge. Sort of some of the once you start getting a little bit smaller, if you can get around the rock pretty quickly, then you're just going to smoke home on a westerly. But then if you don't get there quick enough, you're just going to be sailing up to the rock in a light air, and then you're going to be coming back with all that light air.
Point. Yeah. But that's where we sort of got to, when that actually happens is the key, isn't it? Because Caro currently sitting in 4th, Lucky in 8th, Wind Whisper in 10th, which is obviously the 60.
The 65.
Warrior 65, sorry. Warrior 1 in 9th, Lucky. And our mate's Teasing Machine in 11th.
Yep.
Sunrise 3.
Yep.
15th.
I mean, the Volvo, the 65s are going to smoke up.
Yeah, I think it's
up to the rock.
It's a good race for them.
They're going to go real well. But I think, one of the bigger IRC boats is going to have its way. So, I mean, a TP still, it fits that perfect. It can be a small one, it can be a big one, you know. But I don't think the small boats are going to have much luck looking at the weather. But anyway.
Correct.
Plus, it's going to be rough.
So, what are you saying? The Maluka?
She's got
isn't going to go too well.
She might as well pack it up. She'll be there for next start.
Well, where are they? Has anyone had a look?
I saw some fantastic photos of it in the Solent after the start. Yeah, that's about it. That's as good as it's going to get, I'm afraid, Sean.
Pass.
Gordon, Joshy. So,
cool. Best of luck, everyone competing.
Absolutely, and we'll come to you with some more some results next week, including whether Maluka is finished.
Saying that, they're leading their division. So,
what's their division?
Pre 1930.
No, hang on. I just lost it.
Doesn't matter. Anyway,
all right. Next big event going on, gents. And by the time everyone listens to this, someone's walked away with the prizes, and that is, of course, SailGP. Now, I know, Jordan, you've been watching this closely. Only thing, I've read the Russell report this week,
right?
And I must admit, I like the banter from last time round. Very soft this time. He's obviously got Chat GPT to write it for him because clearly there was not enough banter, not enough sticking it up him. He big ups for the Germans, so it's more about it's turned into a commercial charade, Jordan. Let me tell you, all it is he's offering, spoken about the Germans, how well they're going, spoken about the Canadians and the ownership of the team, and be prepared soon for an announcement of the Canadian
new owner. They've signed terms, so there's a new owner coming on board, one that is not a loose unit, I assume.
Yeah, so, I was a bit disappointed. I expected a bit more out of Russ. He did stick it up the Kiwis, though, which is to be expected. And just kept going along, and which moves to my next point. He did praise the Aussies, especially in Chicago. And my question is, when's it the time up for the Aussies?
When is the guard?
Is it worth getting them? Is it worth getting them out of the tour to give someone else a bit of a crack? Well, because at time of recording, they've sailed very well in LA.
Correct.
By the way, Ben Durham, the quotes of the day by Arnold Schwarzenegger over Instagram. Yeah, that was pretty poor, mate. But, Jordan?
I was just going to say, I reckon there'll be a lot more volatility now that the Cup's kicking off. All those teams are going to get the British team's going to struggle a bit. The Aussie teams, they're all going to be placed in spots. There's a lot of people, the French team, like if you go actually and look – day one's been
the top 4 teams are all AC sailors. Well, the skippers and
so after day one, Australia lead GBR, and then Denmark, and then Spain, and then Canada, then the US, then New Zealand, then France. So the volatility's in there. Germany and Switzerland. Our favourite skipper, the Schneider boy. That's a compliment from Australia. If you're listening, Sebastian, just so you know. So it's a lot of volatility in that. I think we're going to have a weird year. It's going to be this year and next year. It's going to be a little bit weird, SailGP. But
correct. That's actually one thing Russell did refer to is who will be helming GBR or BAR, whatever they're called, something with an R, and alluded to that he doubts Sir Ben will be stepping away from that position. But during the warm-ups, there was a few different helms people on board. So, but the question being, is Ben really going to see out his tenure with the SailGP and not helming to win a couple of events here and there. Let's see. Stand by.
Definitely interesting to see how it all pans out.
Oh, look, I'd say I think Ben would love to just step aside a little bit and just focus in on the Cup. I'm thinking, Dylan might come back in. You've got a few people that could easily step in, but Dylan's going to be in the sort of counter role against Ben in the training. So one of the youngsters could come through is really what we're likely going to see. The other one is obviously Jimmy Spithill's time in the US. I reckon his time is close, and I think Jimmy thinks the same thing. They're not performing, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the US team, they want that number one. There's no doubt that SailGP are biased, like we're biased to Aussies. SailGP will want that team performing at number one, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some major unctions going on over there. Who else? What else? Canada is going to slowly rise to the top, if you ask me. And then, Denmark's just cruising along. They're looking nice and smooth. They're going to have very little disruption. But yeah, interesting times. Interesting. Oh, the other one. Going back to your point, Bossy, how long till all the team are poached? The big dollar offers start stealing the Aussies off the boat. That's happening. It's 100% happening.
Yeah,
and they're mates. They're sticking tight because they're mates. But at some stage, there's enough money in the event that, sorry, buddy, I love you. You're my favourite guy in the world, but I can't knock back this $1 million a year.
Yes. No. Yeah.
I guess it's like every sport. Once it gets to that level, it happens in football. It happens in soccer. I guess that's what we call here in Australia. But it happens in all of those sports where, you can be loyal as you possibly want, but that dollar sign.
Soccer is the correct term for football, BP. Just so you know. But if you go back in the history, because there used to be rugby football and association football, and they agreed hundreds of years ago to call themselves rugby and soccer. It was an agreed thing, all the modern fans can go and get stuffed. It's soccer. That's how the language came. That's why it's called soccer, because they agreed to be called soccer. Anyway,
and for the listeners out there, just open your eyes again, because we're going to carry on.
Yeah. Right, keep moving on. Next topic.
Look, the last thing. Well, I've got two. This is possibly one of the most important things. You'll be pleased to know that the rainbow build update.
Oh, I've seen it. I've been watching it.
How's it going?
Speaking of
gone well.
The
boat frames all set up.
She's coming underweight though. Surely.
Skin done. 18.7 kilograms at the moment. Oh. Still got the deck and the glass to do.
What sort of ply is it? Is it Gaboon? Is it?
Definitely got to be Gaboon for sure.
Bit of Gaboon with a bit of varnish.
But you'll be pleased to know I'll be keeping us all updated on that, as mentioned.
Well, the world wants to know.
Last week, so 4.5 days in, they're about to put the deck on and glass the hull. So, yeah.
The other thing that we have to talk about, and I'm sure I'm stepping on you here, but the word of your brisket has been, the pull of the brisket has been too strong, Bicey.
Yeah.
Too strong. That it has, my friends. I actually had to
had people rock up.
I had to cook one yesterday for my golf mates.
No, I'm talking. There's a boat sailed in right to your home and forgot to stop at the shore.
Yeah. So for South Australian listeners, this is one that kind of pulls at the heartstrings a little bit. Helsel 2 from the ownership of Sir Keith. Oh, Sir. Not Sir. Keith Flint, who owned the boat many, many years ago.
Very famous South Australian.
Very famous South Australian boat and South Australian owner. Competed in several Sydney to Hobarts, competed everything around. Found itself parked up on Grange Beach. Yeah, no, I thought it was a bit of a bit of something that the coffee shops are doing, because I've got to tell you, it created quite
bit of business.
A busy park down there.
I love it.
Well, put it this way, I went down on the jetty 2 or 3 times, and the first time I went down there, literally 200 metres away, there it is, the boat in still just sunk, nothing broken. A few hundred metres away, it was sad times. So as it turns out, this was last Sunday, so 1 week ago. They managed to get it off the mud only a couple of days ago to tow it to North Haven. I saw it on the set. I'm not sure how this happened, but she was on the beach at North Haven Beach yesterday.
Oh, dear.
And this morning she no longer has a mast and is upside down.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that turned.
Wow.
Well,
That's
I mean,
crazy.
Obviously, they were lucky with the weather that didn't happen down at Grange, but
Correct.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's all over there.
So, to all those listeners out there who can't see this, like it is a tragedy to see one of your local famous boats go down in that manner.
Your fault. The brisket's too famous.
Brisket.
Too strong.
Too strong. Anything else, bud?
No.
Okay.
I got one thing. I got one thing to say out of these little list of things here. What's going on with Lake Garda? All of the events are Lake Garda.
Lake Garda, I know, it's out of control. Speaking of which, the Musto Skiff World.
Strong council.
Musto
Lake
Skiff
Garda.
World.
You think there's some sort of backhanders going on with the events?
Congratulations to all the competitors in the Musto Skiff Worlds. The run on Lake Garda, run and won the 12th World Championships. Just massively, very strong in GBR. If you go through the results, you'll see it's pretty much all GBR. There is a South African in there. There is someone from the Netherlands in there, but GBR. But of course, congratulations to Matthias Huvenagel, who is from Australia and has won the event from Sam Pascoe and Bill Morn of GBR. But they're quite a nice boat, the Musto Skiff. They're good fun, very much a 90s thing.
Not an easy boat to sail.
No, not an easy boat to sail at all. No, they've got to be good. You've got to be good to sail them, but good place to go and sail them, definitely. Speaking of,
there would have been fights in the car park at Lake Garda with the B14s?
Oh, I don't know. I like the B14. I reckon
an upgraded Taser.
But you're on wings, you got a kite, it's everything's asymmetrical. It's kind of like a little sort of intermediate.
Well, it's kind of where it all started a bit, right?
Yeah,
the 49ers and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so that's right.
But as I
said to you, it's the Bethway 14. It's that next up from the Taser sort of idea, and it's moved forward and evolved, and there it is now.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to say, if an 18-foot skiff and a Taser had a little baby, it'll be a B14.
Julian Bethwaite will be listening to this and laughing because that's pretty much exactly how the design came about, and I know that for a fact. Congratulations to Mark Watson, Matt Johnson from that win, and then looks like some Aussies in second: Craig Gummerson, Paul Fleming, and then Nick Craig, and then Toby Tastic Lewis.
Toby Tastic, I love it. Yeah, Toby's got a new name, by the way. Toby Bice, Toby Tastic.
Toby Tastic.
Changing his middle name.
Toby Tastic, love it.
And also for the listeners of the youth of the world, the Open Skiff Champs been on in Italy as well, in Rimini in Italy. Too many categories to announce, everyone, but if you are a fan, there is a lot of data on that. Go and have a look at that. So there's been plenty on.
And yeah, absolutely plenty on, but we want to hear more. So if you've got an event you want us to talk about, make sure you get in touch with us, please. Cheers at barkarati.com.
Cheers at barkarati.com. That's so professional, BP.
That's right.
Well
and
done.
if you nominate your club for Club of the Week, you may be a recipient of the Barkarati Club of the Week certificate. May or may not.
Certificate.
Yeah. Club of the Week, episode 212.
Oh, yeah.
Club of the Week
St. Maur's Yacht Club. Club of the Week, episode 213.
And they put it up on their Facebook page.
June 18 to June 25.
They announced that they are the Club of the Week. They actually put it up there and celebrate it. And good on them. Love it.
By the way,
we're going to do Club of the Week.
We'll be able to sell the certificate. Oh, actually, we won't send it. We'll just probably email it. You can print it and you can get yourself a...
you can print it.
The gold leaf won't turn out as good as... You better get a good quality printer, but you can get your own frame as well.
Yeah. And you also get a free beer at your own bar. Just go into the bar and help yourself to a free beer.
All expenses paid.
Cool. By you. Until we're rich. Cool. That it, boys?
Yep. That's it.
Cool. All right. Well, that's another great week. A ton of fun.
Good on you. Thanks, Hattie, for a great chat, and good luck in your sailing career.
Yeah. Good luck, Fastnetters.
Good luck, Fastnetters. Good. In fact, good luck everyone on the water. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Indeed. And I do want to say, remember, everyone, radixnutrition.com. If you use the code BARKARATE, one word, 10% off your first purchase, and you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. We're here for you. We're here for you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Good on you, lads and ladies. Good on you, lads.
Value.
Cheers.